Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Industries Live. It's my absolute favorite time of the week. We have a very exciting show for you today. I'm coming to you live from Seattle, Washington. The sun is out. Spring has sprung here in Seattle. People think it rains here all the time, but I can tell you it doesn't. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, so everybody's in a good mood. Very, very excited about two incredible partner stories that we're going to bring to you today. We're going to be talking hyper-personalization. We're going to also be talking about live events. So I've been really looking forward to this one. So Industries Live, if it's your first time, this is it's a wonderful time that we get together every couple of weeks to talk about industries, what we're seeing in industries, what our partners are seeing in their businesses, the industry dynamics, what's changing, what's happening, what they're seeing on the horizon, future innovation, and we really get sort of down and into the nitty-gritty of some of their great customer stories. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Gregoire. Welcome, Gregoire. Very excited to have you join me today. How are you?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. I'm calling in from sunny Los Angeles here. We rarely worry about rain, and today is as per usual. Beautiful. I'm Gregoire Rouyer. I lead partner strategy for broadcast and sports at AWS, and I'm excited about today.
Awesome. Gregoire, and I should introduce myself as well. Michael Schmidt is my name. I look after the Industry and Partner Solutions Center of Excellence tech team based here in Seattle, but we work with our customers and partners across the globe to help bring their solutions to life on AWS, help build and be successful on the platform, and ultimately help solve those really specific and industry-specific customer problems and really disrupt industries and kind of lead the disruption of industry paradigms to really innovate and accelerate. So the partners we're talking about today fit that category very well. Very, very excited to be talking to them. So why don't, Gregor, we'll start with you. Why don't you just give me a little bit of, we're going to be talking a little bit about hyper-personalization this morning, and why don't you give me a little bit about what are we talking about there?
Yeah, so we have two exciting partners this morning. The first one, TGI Sports, really is bringing the ability to broadcasters to insert ads in a non-disruptive manner. When you're watching a sporting event, sometimes you're going to see popping on the surface of play an ad, and you're going to notice that the next quarter the ad is different. Well, most of the time that's going to be because our friends at TGI Sports are behind this, and they're bringing this virtual ad insertion capability to broadcasters. Now, this has been done for a while, and they're going to explain this in more details. But the very exciting part now that we're getting, thanks to AWS, if we do the insertion on AWS, we can actually target and personalize these ads. So you can get a personalized version of the show that is essentially produced just for you.
Nice. Well, why don't we bring in our partners and let's introduce them and talk a little bit we'll get the conversation going. So welcome, Sam and Kevin. Welcome to Industries Live. So exciting to have you on with us. Why don't we start with just perhaps you can introduce yourselves. Maybe Sam, do you want to start and just give us your introduction to yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having us. We're very excited to be here with you guys and as part of our partnership with AWS. So my name is Sam Chenillo. I've been involved in virtual advertising for honestly most of my life, since 1997, a long time. Gregoire mentioned it's been around for a while, and it's been a long evolution. I've had the pleasure of both witnessing and contributing to the evolution of virtual. I started working fresh out of college at a company called PVI in the Mexican. I grew up in Mexico, so it was in Mexico City. Licensee, the very first licensee. Then I moved up to the US and worked with PVI itself, and eventually created a company called Brand Brigade, which got acquired by TGI Sports to form TGI Tech, and now I'm a partner at TGI Tech.
Nice. And Kevin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Gregoire. Thank you for having us. I'm Kevin Bovet. My background includes the Olympic movement and world governing bodies with FIBA, the International Basketball Federation, along with experience with top-tier US sports franchises at the Madison Square Garden company. And since 2018, I've joined the exciting sports media and entertainment technology industry, where I worked on a number of projects with AWS.
Nice. Thanks, Kevin. Gregoire, did you want to ask the first question to our partners here?
Sure, absolutely. Let's get started. So, can you tell us a little bit more about TGI Tech? The origin story and some background around the partnership between AWS and TGI Tech.
Yes, definitely. So we are a technology-driven sports media company, and we really focus on, one, creating commercial value for rights holders, delivering greater return to advertisers, and engaging audiences, which will be a key topic today. And we do so through pioneering technology solutions, expertise in global media rights, as well as a wealth of sports marketing knowledge, but also experience. If you look at that company, I think from the early days of TV visible signage visualization, there's really, really strong knowledge and experience that we're able to transfer into the next generation of our offering. And when it comes to our partnership with AWS, it really has been instrumental in our growth. We completed the different steps required to join the AWS partner network, including the FTR assessment and the MAP program. And if Gregoire, you want to speak a little bit about this, obviously you're more than welcome. And we would like to thank you for pushing us to get this done. We were shifting with priorities, and you were always pushing us. And we'd like to thank you, especially because most recently the collaboration culminated into a joint demo activation at NAB, which we'll be excited to touch on later today. So thanks again, Gregoire.
No, awesome. It's been a real pleasure to work with you, and that's what we do in the partner network. We're supporting companies who build on AWS and helping them to accelerate their growth on AWS. So that's we love helping great ideas come to reality.
Awesome. Well, perhaps throw that open to both Sam and Kevin. Tell us a little bit about, from the history of virtual advertising in sports. What is? Give us a little bit of background so we can tee up. I'm interested to understand, particularly, what you see as your value proposition and what the differentiators are for TGI Tech in your offerings.
Sure, I can start with a little bit of history. As I mentioned before, I've been honored to be a witness from the beginning and then be able to contribute and participate. And it's been an incredible ride, and it's an interesting arc to get to this point and to get to what AWS is helping now catalyze and multiply. So in the origin, we would have to, the very first time that the virtual ads were created, we had to take a truck to a sporting event and have about 4 refrigerators of the size of gear, connect everything, in the very first steps, sensors to the camera, sensors to the truck, and data feed distributions everywhere, just to have a logo track on a wall. And back then that was that was pioneering, that was revolutionary. But that was extremely complicated. So we started by doing I think we did a soccer event, the Parmalat Cup, and then we did some baseball with, I think it was the Trenton Thunder and the Phillies, and it started to take off. And I think the very first massive virtual adoption was the first downline in football. So that has become kind of like a requirement for football nowadays, but that in the late 90s, well, really early 2000s was I think the first major virtual enhancement that was applied, and it still has grown and permeated to this day. So back then we would have to have, as I mentioned, a huge amount of hardware connected on site. The evolution went from having that hardware to making a software only version of that during the 2000s, and then and Kevin, you can talk more about this, but one of the great benefits of virtual advertising is that you can create use spaces that are not physically able to be advertised or enhanced with virtual, or you can also create multiple iterations of such a feed. So in the middle of the 2000s, we I think MLB was one of the first groups to use virtual. to distribute around the world. So I think our high watermark was that we would do 6 different feeds of the same event with different ads, starting a moderate linear targeting. And from there, we took the technology and managed to separate being on site to actually perform the virtual operation in a remote location in a broadcast center. So that was another kind of revolution where we were going from having a huge truck on site to instead of 3 refrigerators, 1 refrigerator on site, to then moving the refrigerator remote and having the video come in as a program feed into our system and being able to be processed. So that's a categorical change. Around those times is when Brand Brigade came about, and I think one of the key things we did is we were able to make virtual more accessible, so that it instead of being only the top 50 events that could get virtual, basically any event across the US or the world could get virtual inserted. And I think from there, the next step is up to then what was called what the part of keying, where we cut out the people and insert the graphics behind them, was done in a similar way to the Weatherman with a green screen or chroma keying effect. And in the later part of the 2015s to 2020s, AI came about, and that's been the next revolution in both quality and in opportunities, and that brought about what is called there's different ways of calling it, but the erase from the place, where in the initial stages we could only insert a logo on the surface or use a chroma key, such as with a Weatherman style keying. And with AI, we're able to actually have any background or any surface, determine the foreground, the background, and do actual replacements of what is there. So,
Sam, I was interested in the COVID factor, and I know that people talk to me a lot about what COVID did for the industry and how it drove. People think a lot about remote work, but there was a huge impact on remote production during COVID. Tell me a bit about what that meant for you.
Sure. So COVID was definitely a huge catalyst. I think it accelerated the adoption of, virtual has grown year over year tremendously, but COVID, I think, compressed 5 to 6 years of adoption into 1 year, because suddenly you had empty stadiums, empty arenas, and people who could not access, and the leagues needed revenue, and virtual came in as the solution for all these, where we would cover blocked off seats with virtual ads. We would be able to insert in different feeds and different locations for different markets, which has always been one of the benefits of virtual. But this allowed it this kind of forced the hand for adoption, and that rapid acceleration of adoption has just continued since then.
Right. And I know, Kevin, you're going to talk to us a little bit about your own value prop, and I know you've got a video to show us to start with. So why don't we look at that?
Yes, thank you, Michael. So to simplify our offering, it really centers around 3 key points. One is the virtual advertising insertion, which you can see on the screen. And this is really seamlessly integrating advertisement into a live broadcast, whether it's on the field of play or its periphery, without disrupting the original feed. And so on the example, you see the steering wheel area along with the bridge are being augmented with ads insertion. As Sam alluded to, there's also the capacity of replacing existing ads. And this is really dynamically substituting existing advertisement with content that's targeted based on either a specific audience, region, or other parameters that rights holders can choose to. And our third value proposition is data-driven visualization. There's a wealth of sports data that exists, and we can help engage the audience with displaying, visual overlays that really enrich the fan experience. And we focus on these 3 propositions capitalizing on three distribution methods. One is traditional and linear TV, which basically our technology integrates seamlessly into existing broadcast workflow to help unlock new revenue streams. The second distribution method we're extremely excited about is highlights. And this allows rights owners to carve out and enhance short form of content with dynamic ads in order to really capitalize on that form, which is extremely well consumed especially by youth audience nowadays. And probably the most exciting we have is DTC and streaming. And there the goal is really to power direct-to-consumer platforms with next-generation advertising capabilities. And Sam will talk about the demo that we did with you guys at NAB just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so that's and having seen the whole curve of up to now of virtual adoption, that is super exciting. So basically, we started with virtual being able to have the magic of replacing or inserting a logo. Then there was the ability in a linear feed to replace a whole set of logos, a whole set of areas. This is the next level, which is really it's really a revolution in advertising, because we're able to, in a natural, seamless, integrated way, in the context of the video you're seeing, whether it's a court, whether it's a wall, whether it's a whole a field, able to insert a customized asset just for you. So per IP, per device, every single device can watch a game. And in the same manner that AWS and different web devices can target you, we can target and serve content that's tailored 100% for you, naturally embedded seamlessly in the scene. So I don't know if we could run the quad of the demo with you guys, but this was at NAB. We basically connected our engine to AWS's 360 profiling, which can create 4 different profiles of a viewer and do everything from selling to merchandising to getting access to the event to customizing, which our case, we were customizing the experience, the visual experience. So this is obviously on a video game, on the Formula One video game, which is the same thing that we do, but it's the same technology that we use for live events. And here you can see it's the same. Top left is the original clean feed, and then the other 3 on the left, on the right bottom and right bottom are the customized targeted exposure that we generated that are based on a per IP per user experience. So each person gets their own profile and their own exposure, and this can be used for advertising or for enhancements. So you can actually follow your own player and get a customized feed of your own player throughout the game, which we find to be really the next level. I mean, it's a whole new level of media consumption and advertising. It's really exciting.
Hey,
and partner with AWS, it's a perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, gentlemen, I didn't mean to interrupt. But just before we go to your next question, Greg, I just wanted to encourage everybody who's watching the live stream, please engage with us in the chat. I know there are people dialing in from all over the world that are viewing this is the incredible demos and discussions. So please engage with us in the chat. Let us know where you are and what you're doing. Greg, why don't you go with the next question?
Sure. So I have 2 questions here. First, Sam, you mentioned at the beginning of the chat that the technology has changed a lot, since the multiple fridges on a truck to today doing this on AWS. Are we also, following these 2 catalysts, the COVID crisis and the rise of AI, the explosion of AI in the past few years? Are we at a turning point in the virtual advertisement, technology adoption?
Yes, we're actually at an explosion. So there's a couple of things that come together. AI is making the whole process more precise, faster, more accurate, with a smaller footprint, reducing things that we could do in computer vision in 50 milliseconds to 2 milliseconds. And the other component is actually also, and there AWS helps us a lot. The other component that is actually also a huge change, and we see that adoption happening now, is that now we truly see cloud distribution happening for the broadcast world. And so the past 2 years, we would see a lot of like POCs and people thinking we should do this on the cloud. But now we actually are seeing that it's happening. It's going from a POC to production now. So we anticipate that this year or next year there'll be a huge amount of a huge usage of cloud, and AWS is leading in that space. So that's also very exciting, and that just simplifies the process. So you can, again, instead of having, it went down from like 5 refrigerators to 1 refrigerator, and now it's just a PC. But we have the case of one of the major US broadcasters where they would like to use more virtual services, but they don't have any more footprint on their on-prem. They physically cannot fit more gear. And so that's one that just spinning up an instance with you guys is magic. It's a huge, so that'll be a huge catalyzer as well to keep on making access to virtual across the board.
Yeah, that's going to enable.
I'm sorry, Gregoire, you go.
Sorry, no, that's going to enable you to scale and to get this technology in the hands of more broadcasters. Michael, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to double click on that, Samuel, just from your perspective. I hear you talking about lots of proof of concepts historically, and we're seeing a lot more of a trend of POC to production. Like, I'm just interested in, from your experience of what you've seen over the last couple of years, like what's been the secret to successfully getting to production rather than sort of getting stopped at proofs of concept? Like, if you based on the wisdom that you have now, like what would you advise customers to be doing differently to really accelerate that journey?
I mean, I think it's just mainly it's obsessive, insistent iteration, and pushing it. At the end of the day, everything's an iteration. So just keep on pushing forward, and hopefully have the right people and the right partners, and you get there. But that's honestly, it's being stubborn is the main.
Persistently stubborn.
I think there's definitely a pattern with successful adoption. One is that we found the most effective approach really involves a close collaboration between commercial, technology, and broadcast teams right from the beginning. This is really, really crucial for success. And then, as Sam said, the important step is to identify a very manageable scenario where virtual advertising can be tested. This is key to demonstrate how non-intrusive the process is, build comfort and confidence among all stakeholders involved, and then fine-tune placement, look and feel for maximum impact, and really establish standard operating procedures that will then come second nature to rights holders. And really, our recommendation is to start. Like, don't wait for an absolute perfect implementation workflow. Don't wait for a perfect commercial strategy. Both will evolve. So we've really observed that the most successful organizations are the ones who are taking the leap and adopt a really agile learn as you go approach, if you will. And the great news is we have the expertise and the experience to fully accompany rights holders throughout their journey. And in some cases, we'll do this with you guys at AWS, which is very, very exciting. And I wanted to also touch on a third catalyst in the adoption of virtual, which is the constant globalization of sports. This is really a driver that fuels the adoption even further. Whether it's an American league expanding their reach internationally, or international properties that are gaining traction in the US market, these really offer cross-market initiatives and create amazing opportunities for targeted and localized virtual advertising that would not be possible with traditional signage alone. especially to maintain consistent branding, which is key for these leading sporting organizations.
Who do you see out the front there, Kevin, like in terms of which sporting organizations are really pushing the envelope? I mean, we obviously saw the Formula One example, but what other sporting franchises or sporting organizations do you see really kind of leading the charge on this?
I was gonna give the example of F1, definitely. You see the NBA pushing hard to continue the global expansion that have started a number of years ago. NFL, but then there's also organizations overseas that really try to capitalize on all that success in the US and that are contracting more and more media rights with US broadcasters, etc. So I think virtual advertising will see has really a bright future thanks to this, along with the improvements like AI we talked about earlier.
Amazing. I see in the chat we have people connecting from Luxembourg, Los Angeles, Charlotte, North Carolina, so and a lot of Formula One fans. So thank you for our Formula One fans for dialing in. I'm one of them. So if you have any love for Oscar Piastri, let me know in the chat. We're all very excited that he might have a shot at winning the World Championship this year, hopefully. Fantastic discussion, gentlemen. I know we're getting low on time. I feel like we could definitely talk for another 30 minutes. I'm wondering any last minute sort of thoughts from you, Gregoire. Anything else you wanted to ask to Kevin and Sam before we wrap it up for the day?
No, I think to me I've been watching sports forever, and one of the things that I noticed recently is this technology used to be reserved for green surface sports. And today we see it, you watch, the Olympics, pretty much every sport, you can see this. You can see it in nautical sports, in snow sports. And that's fantastic. That exciting for you, like to be able to branch out in new sports, but also that's super complex because your operators have to learn an entire new environment.
I think yes. I think with the evolution and revolution of AI, it is becoming easier to have the software by itself calibrate, understand the context, and determine even programmatically what to insert. So it's a very exciting time. It is really it's kind of like I guess there's been iterations, and maybe we're like in generation 4, but it's going to multiply exponentially right now. It's a super exciting time.
It's a great point you make, Gregoire. I would say a couple of years ago, there was probably fear around really challenging environments, whereas now there's excitement about them because we actually would like to push the envelope and test further and have moving cameras, snow, to your point, which was impossible years ago. And so we're actually excited for complex deployments and challenging environments.
Yeah. One thing to mention in the Formula One Club you saw is that's as opposed to the early stages where we could just track on a stationary camera. That is a driving camera, so we can do any kind of motion now. It's all bets are off. Everything is an opportunity for virtualization now. So
fantastic. Awesome. Well, Kevin and Samuel, thank you so much for joining us. It was absolutely terrific conversation. Really enjoyed talking about the tech and where it's all heading. I definitely talk about the implications of how COVID had an implication on our industry a lot, and this is one of the examples I talk about a lot in terms of virtual production and what that's meant for the whole media entertainment industry. For everybody watching, thank you for your engagement. No, we don't have Ferraris. For the person who asked, unfortunately, if the Amazon stock price was 5 times what it is right now, then maybe, but not currently in the budget. But thanks for asking. You'll see a QR code at the top of your screen. Please give us some feedback on how you found today, any other things you'd like us to be doing, another partner you'd like us to be talking to. Kevin and Samuel, thank you so much again for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Wonderful conversation. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And look forward again to the next edition of Industry Live. Thanks, Gregoire, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you very much.